G'day there, and welcome to this short clip about KITT for Kids. So as you can see, KITT for Kids is a restoration project, the rebuild of a 86 Trans Am to KITT. In this clip I want to cover off the work I've done on this car, and particularly the stuff I've had to improvise on. Talk about the cost involved to help those out that are thinking about building a replica themselves. Thank a few people along the way, and talk about the cause or the charity that we use this car for. KITT for Kids. So I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please subscribe to my channel. It's a new channel. I should say this is the second take on making this video. You might have seen, excuse me, version 1. However, I had the camera held in portrait. First go up making a YouTube clip. So, yeah, please subscribe and check out the links. Knight Rider Historians, if you want to check out more about the restoration of this car, you can visit the KITT for Kids Facebook page. And there's also a link to my chosen charity, which we'll chat about in a second. So shortly we'll have a good look at the car in and out, and have a chat about the work that's been done. But first I want to talk a wee bit about where it all started for me. So, like many kids growing up in the 80s, this is where it started. Knight Rider was massive on telly. KITT was just this awesome black pointy futuristic car that every kid fell in love with, and probably hasn't let go of the dream ever since, really. So that's me sitting in KITT in the tour car that came to New Zealand in 1986. It was in Blenheim, that photo, and there's a heap of Kiwis that have had the very same picture taken in that car. I've been fortunate enough to get to know a chap called Greg Hackett, who has been the custodian of that very car here in New Zealand for a long time now. It stayed in the country, and there's the original. The car stayed in the country, and I was fortunate enough to be able to sit in that very same car just earlier this year up in Auckland. So there it is, that's me at age 43. You can see age 9, age 43. Same car. Amazing to be able to see that car again and actually sit in it. So big thanks to Greg. If you want to check out some of Greg's work, he's part of the Knight Rider Historians group, which you can check out. See the work they do, the great work they do keeping the legend of Knight Rider alive. So that's where this whole thing kicked off for me. Just run through some of the other paperwork that came with this car. So I've got a pic here of when I first purchased the car off Trade Me up in Auckland, 2017. It was effectively just a stock standard black Trans Am 86 305 V8. It was pretty banged up on the outside, and the interior was a mess. It ran well, but the only Knight Rider parts, which is why I bought it, I didn't want a Trans Am, I wanted a KITT car, was the gull wing steering wheel and the Knight Rider nose. So actually while we're on those, we'll flick through a few pictures. So that's the car in its original state when I purchased it, pretty stock. You can see a lot of work required. That's it arriving in Christchurch, and then the work began. We'll come back to a couple of those pics. But I was fortunate when I purchased this car that it came with all this paperwork, which I haven't checked out in full, but pretty amazing. Right back to the manufacturer's specs from 86. There's even a Pontiac newsletter in with the paperwork, and just copious amounts of invoices and stuff. So one day I'll check that out. The owner's manual, and this photo came with it too, which I don't believe that's my KITT car out of the factory, but came with the paperwork anyway. The Knight Rider companion. So yeah, pretty lucky that all that came with the car. Yeah, kicking off the work. So I should say I knew nothing about cars. I know a fair bit about this car now, but coming into this project I knew very little. Which is, I think, a testament to the fact that you can build one of these cars if you don't have a whole lot of knowledge. I'm not a car guy, I'm just a Knight Rider fan, really. Well, I'm actually just a KITT fan. I enjoy the show, I'm getting into it now, but it's really this car, that's what it's all about for me. So Fortunately, there's YouTube and Google, and I've got a lot of good mates who have helped me. I'll mention Stephen Sykes, who's done a heap of work, Black Shadow projects here in New Zealand. He's helped me out no end. He's got his own KITT car. Mike Campbell, he done the lion's share of the panel work on KITT. And my neighbours Ian and Neil helped me out no end with tools and bits and pieces and a bit of know-how. So thanks, guys. And my wife for letting me spend hours in the garage. 2 little boys at home too. So it's been a bit of a sacrifice and a commitment. But anyway, I'll just flick through some of these pictures. Just shooting back here real quick. So the first thing I did was put some sound deadener on the floor. This is a black tar paint on type job. No rust in this car, which was awesome. And that's really reduced the road noise, so that's worked well. Dash turned up. Bowling ball hubcap wheels. We'll look at all this on the car. That's my son Thomas helping out. Just want to capture this. This was my first error. Painted the hubcaps, painted the wheels white. Of course, KITT's are silver, so I had to redo those. And I dropped the Pontiac sign as well. Yeah, a lot of sanding. The hood was the worst. That's the original. You can see it's got nostrils and a cosmetic scoop, which we took off and put back on. I will need to replace the scoop at some stage. Sorry, the bonnet at some stage. Electrics for the dash. Yeah, the reason I'll need to replace it, we'll have a look, but there's a few ripples in the front where I didn't put spritz undercoat on thick enough. A little bit of rust, not too bad. Not too bad at all on the car, really. That was just down the bottom right of the front door. Front door, what am I saying? They only have 2 doors, so the driver's side door. Actually, that's a lie too. It's a left-hand drive, so the passenger side door. This was pretty bad. This is the back right. There was an area about the size of a steering wheel that was filled with bog that had to be chipped out and the dents panel beaten out. We'll have a look on the car at how I've done the tail light. As I say, a big part of this video is about the work that I've done myself with a bit of know-how, and it saved a fortune on the way through. Ground effects off the car, KITT didn't have those. Seats were fully redone, they were completely different. This is the stock dash. Had to cut about a couple of inches off the front of that to fit the Knight Rider dash in. A lot of hacking up of the stock dash actually to make KITT's dashboard fit in. Fabricated the door panels. They're not the KITT authentic ones, but they look the part for now. That's the tail light piece. There it is, finished. There's the seats. You can see how different looking they were. When we get in the car, I'll talk about the parts I haven't converted to KITT yet. This is one of them, the centre console, but I did refurbish that and used some glue and a black leather dye. Come out really good. There's my wife living the dream. Soon after KITT was finished, seen that one. Greg Hackett and myself cruising around Auckland City in his KITT. That was a great day. And there's a photo of me with that tour car. That's a real piece of history, that car, so I feel really fortunate being a fan, not to have just seen that car again, but to actually have my photo taken it and sit in it. It's just amazing. So it's pretty cool. So then the sanding work began on the car, and this was a mission. This is all done in the garage that I'm in right now. Just a lot of hard work. So if you're looking to do one of these cars yourself, you just have to be prepared to dig in, because it is a hell of a lot of work getting them ready. Black cars, it'll show up every hump and hollow. You got to get them pretty straight. You can see the mess I made in the garage. Ready to go. There we go. That's with 3 coats of spritz undercoat. Make sure you get a decent gun. Mine clogged up at the end, and that's why I couldn't get 3 full coats on the hood. Hence a few ripples. But I like the photo of the White Knight. Onto the trailer. There's the seats finished. You can see the multiple layers of paint that was on the thing that we had to take back. A little bit of the work required left over from taking the ground effects off. Okay, the spotties, again, improvisation, down to the local hardware store, and just 3 staggered or different lengths of sort of metal bracket there to stagger the spotties so they fit in. They needed to fit nice and snug under the KITT nose. They look really good. Painted them up. You can't really see here, but this is the inside of the KITT nose. So Mike fitted on a metal bracket, which is a permanent part of that nose now. And to take the nose off, it's just a few bolts. and a couple of screws, and it's really easy to take on and off, so that's pretty cool. It's a dash. Yeah, restored the gull-wing steering wheel. And this is my favourite before photo, looking like it's in a hell of a state. So I like to check that out, and then here's me check that that before photo out, and then move on to the finished car. It's a pretty good feeling. Just want to point this one out too. This is hard work, getting the lines on KITT's hood and nose lined up when you're sanding. You want them to be nice, crisp, sharp edge. So you'll take your time there. So spray a bit of black paint on to highlight where the ridge was. Take it off, sand it back, just slow grind. That's the black undercoat in at Hammond's Collision in town. Scotty Blackadder, that's his son Keegan, who painted the car for me. Thanks guys, great job. That's the car returning home. The boys and I, first night, KITT back painted. Photo of some leaking coolant, which we dressed, fixed up I should say. And then we're getting into using the car. So this is where the fun begins really. So I mentioned before, a charity. My wife and I have chosen to use this car, and I say my wife and I because it has been it's a family commitment, this, and the car is for the family. Two little boys, they love it. So it is like a family thing. But Child Cancer Foundation is a fully self-funded organisation, and they rely on the support of donations. So that's my car in the background. In the foreground, that's Stephen Sykes' KITT. He's been supporting the Child Cancer Foundation for a long time. And it's great that we can pair up and help out the CCF, who do some great work looking after the kids and the families that are suffering from cancer. So that's our chosen charity. We're going to do a lot more. In fact, we've started up a group called NZ Nights, which soon we'll have a page up for you to check out. There's 3 cars at this stage. We're looking to keep the legend alive in New Zealand, share our cars. There's 3 of us, Greg Hackett, myself and Stephen Sykes. In October we're bringing the cars to Wellington for a bit of a feature event. So I'll provide some links once we have the promo up for that. So that's the cause, and it's great to be able to give back. I'll talk about the headrests when we get in the car, but you can see the original ones there, just for a bit of before and after. They're not right, they look awful. There's the plan, but basically fabricated my own PMD style seats, because anything but doing it yourself, it would cost a fortune. I don't think you could even get your hands on a PMD seat or a pair of them in New Zealand easily. You can see the end results turned out pretty cool. Okay, we'll talk about some of these other pieces I'm scrolling through real quick. When we get in, have a look around the car. That's me with a finished car. There's the NZ Nights right there. There's a before shot of my ceiling console. My KITT's a hardtop. I don't think they make the ceiling console for hardtop, so I had to, I think that's out of a 96 Subaru from the Wreckers. It's an inside door panel. It just happened to be the right shape, so I've bought that and put some buttons in, daisy chained up. Some buttons that with LEDs in them so they light up. And there we go, finished product. And when we get in the car, you'll see it looks pretty cool. You can see it there. It's Thomas and Benji. And that's probably my favourite shot of my car and Stephen's car up in Blenheim a couple of weeks back at a child cancer event there. Okay, KITT's even been in a video clip already, a music video clip. Pretty cool. And there's the whole family. So anyway, that's a bit about a few photos for you, a bit about the restoration. But let's check the car out. We'll start with the boot. We'll do the outside, then we'll do the inside. Then I'll talk about a bit of the technology that I've used. It's really simple technology, but it's quite effective. So anyway, just wanted to show you this piece here. This is the tail light. So I bought the black Perspex from overseas, but I've manufactured my own sort of piece to make it one unit. So effectively I fiberglassed over top of the 3 separate pieces of the tail light parts, so they're all one unit now, and fiberglass, bog, sand it down nice and smooth, undercoat, and then a glossy paint on top. You see it's come out really good. So the reason I've done that is that if you need to change the bulbs, the whole thing comes out as one unit just by removing a couple of screws in the back here, taking that off, and the whole thing comes out. So I was really pleased with that. That's the first piece of a bit of Kiwi ingenuity there to save a few bob, get the tail light done. So that cool KITT blacked out look plate, KITT plate that goes on and off for events. I did leave it on once and got pulled over by a cop. So the interior of the car, fully recarpeted. Did that myself, obviously. It was quite tricky cutting at the size. You have to be careful. Measure twice, cut once and all that. But yeah, the rest of the trim was pretty tight. It just needed a good clean up. I did take all of the glass all had tinting on it. I took it off in the end just to give it that clear KITT look. Okay. So let's step back and get a view of the car. So there we go. Let's have a look at some of the other parts. Down the side here, the side trim. So the car didn't have that on it. That's just from the local plastic engineer, length of plastic, and I've used an orbital sander to shape the excuse me, the end to give it the arrowhead look. Then used a strong double-sided adhesive to put it on. And yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm really happy with that. Just sort of, it was looking a little bit bare down the side of the car. Sort of finished it off quite nice. Bowling ball hubcaps. I think they call them that because they've got a tendency to roll off and you'll never see them again. And they look like a bowling ball, but to stop that, you can see I've used these zip ties, which just gives you the reassurance that you're not going to lose them. So that's really important. Those are quite hard to replace and pretty expensive, I think, if you need to bring them in from somewhere else. Alright, this is pretty cool. So again, done on the cheap, but effective. This is the cosmetic T-top, so it's just a length of rubber, double-sided tape. Get yourself a good quality double-sided tape, a length of rubber down the front, down the back, and another strip of plastic down the centre to imitate the T-top. Make sure you use a plastic primer when you're painting the plastic, otherwise your paint job's not going to last long. So yeah, there's a little bit of improvisation on the outside. Checking out the front of the car. The KITT scanner, a fair bit of playing around with that. It's a little bit temperamental at the moment. We're going to, in the process of fixing that up, you can see it pauses a wee bit. But Stephen Sykes is working on that for me as we speak, so thanks, mate. The hood, you can't really see, there's a couple of ripples over here where I didn't put the spritz on thick enough. Preparation, they say, so you can see them, you can see the ripples there in the light. This whole scoop will be replaced, sorry, the whole hood. The scoop is starting, it will start to rise. I mean, fiberglass onto metal. It's been riveted and glued and bogged over top, but over time it's just going to lift. You can see the mesh I've put into the scoop here to imitate that look. That's just the mesh you'd typically use on the grille of the car. I don't think many replica builders will have that issue. They'll probably have a stock hood, and the scoop will be complete. But that's come out pretty good anyway. Okay, this is how I have the car set up when I'm at CCF events and other events, just to give it a bit of appeal. Red carpet. KITT deserves a red carpet. Okay, I think that's probably enough on the outside of the car. I should just say too, I've got a really good quality Bluetooth speaker in the hood, under the hood there, the front right. I hooked that up from the inside so KITT can project audio, talk, play music at events. Yeah, I think it's a nostalgia thing for the oldies, anyone over 40, but the music, the scanner light really attracts the crowd, so it's pretty cool. Alright, let's get in the car. So as I said before, the gull-wing steering wheel came with the car. Excuse me. Just needed a little bit of restoration work, and that's come out really good. I'll firstly talk about the parts I haven't done yet. So you'll see there's no switch pod behind the steering wheel. There's no centre console. Imitation PMD seats, customised to KITT 01, that's my licence plate. And the door panels are not the authentic looking KITT door panels. And of course this car's not a T-top, so you don't have the effect of glass on the inside. You could deal to that with some black perspex, which could be on the go down the track. So aside from those features, it's pretty, I mean, clearly it identifies as KITT, and that was my goal. My primary goal is, initially it was just to have a black Trans Am that had a few KITT features, but it's hard to stop once you start. But my main goal with the car was to make it interactive. So we'll just work through it real quick. Here's the upper console, so kids can sit in the car and play with the buttons on and off, which is pretty cool. They turn the whole thing off at the back and back on. Simon, remember this game from the 80s? This is just a bit of a retro thing to give a bit of an 80s feel. So again, the kids can sit in the car and have a play with that. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. Put that on the side. But you can see down here, this piece here, very vaguely, there's a piece of support. You can't see it very well. There's a support there which it's just made out of wood, and I've plasti dipped, which is a great product. That supports the dash. The dash is in solid as, supports the dash and imitates the look of the center console, which runs along here and feeds up into the dash. So a little bit of home handiwork there to pull that piece off. The tablet, and put the tune back on. There we go. The tablet, just a $100 tablet, and just put a bunch of Knight Rider stuff on it. Have that playing at events. And this piece here is the the imitation or the retro TV surround, monitor surround. There was actually a toolbox that I just cut up and again plastic dipped over the top. It just sits in place by friction. So pretty happy with that. Let's turn the power, bring the dash to life, and the countdown sequence. And I can make the KITT talk through its usual voice box here, you see. And it's just connected through the stereo, so if I have the stereo playing, KITT's voice box will flicker. Turn that back down. Down the bottom here you can see I've got a LED. This is the original scanner from the car, just a cheapie off eBay. Not much chop though, so I took that out and got the decent scanner on the front. It was halogen lights on the scanner at the front. It's now LED, so it runs a bit cooler and lasts a bit longer at a show. Dash is fully functional, which is awesome. What else do I want to show you? So we just turn the scanner on and off here. This app is pretty cool. So I'm running a pretty basic technology that, again, in line with the budget. But I was amazed at the features of this app. And I mean, as I said before, I wanted this car to be interactive and for the kids to enjoy, fans to enjoy. So pretty cheap technology when you think of the tablet, and a Bluetooth speaker in the front, and an iPhone with a $5 app on it. So you can change the settings on this app, and it can do a few things. So KITT does interact. KITT, introduce yourself.
I am the voice of Night Industry 2000's microprocessor, KITT for easy reference, a KITT if you prefer.
So there we go. He sort of just responds to the noise around him. KITT, tell me a joke.
The other night I was parked in a garage that was so small, the mice were hunched back.
Yep. So there we go. Pretty cool. And if you turn it on the side, scanner, touch it, it's just a scanner. And then you get the Knight Rider tune. And just to give you an idea of the Bluetooth speaker. So if you go into settings here, down to the KITT app, turn the microphone off. Okay, so that's it setting up. We need to turn the Bluetooth speaker on. There we go. Wait for it to crank up. Okay. Back into the app. And you can hear the Bluetooth speaker. listen. So there we go. So that's pretty effective. As I say, that's just pretty cheap technology. But it certainly does the trick and brings KITT to life. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? We'll have a look at the PMD seats. We'll just bring this back to microphone back on. KITT might want to chat away to us as I finish the clip. So these PMD imitation seats, I'll just talk through this process because I think I've seen a lot of replicas that have the old headrests on them, the solid block headrest, and they just don't look the part. So effectively, just this piece here,
Don't mention it.
I cut a metal plate and then just a metal rod over top, welded on, then shape the foam and have them professionally upholstered. So they look pretty cool. The KITT 01 badge there.
Are you quite sure?
I am sure, mate. So there we go. That's probably enough. It's that's the car. That's the cause, child cancer. And thanks to everyone that's helped me along the way. If you're looking to build one of these cars, the cost. I mentioned I'd talk about that at the beginning. The car cost me to buy $8,750 New Zealand 3 years ago. So that was in 2017. I reckon I've put another, I don't know, 20 to 30,000 into the car. So let's just say 35,000 New Zealand to build this replica. I've probably saved 10,000 on doing a lot of the work myself. If you're prepared to put the yards in, a lot of hard yards, and do it yourself and think outside the box, you will save yourself some cash and get the job done quicker. I was pretty impatient, so everything was a bit of a rush, but it's come out pretty good. Alright, so thank you again. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy the video, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to post more, obviously, going forward, particularly around the events we attend. Check out the links as well. Okay, thanks everyone.
Are you quite sure?
KITT buddy, say goodbye.
Is that a fact?
KITT buddy, goodbye.